I made a very conscious choice to change my outlook and change my attitude and be more outgoing and try to be more the person that I wanted to be, or that I was, that I would hope that I was by the time I was 23 or, whatever I was back then so long ago. But, because it really was a situation of like fake it till you make it, I think. Like I really kind of did just like pretend to be confident for like years, and then finally it just the grooves start to wear in your brain of these daily habits that you've been faking, and then before you know it, it's like kind of real. So, and I mean, even at this point, it's like, I at times I feel extremely confident, and other times I just feel like, a super worthless piece of shit, and it's just like finding the balance between those two things every day and trying to lean more on the fake confidence side of it. I try to be, positive.
Do you have any personal philosophies for thriving as an artist, either in your personal work or career?
I get it's like thriving. I would say thriving as an artist, it's just like, just keep experiencing new things. I feel like sometimes, especially in animation, since a lot of these jobs are putting you in these situations of like isolation, or you're chained to a desk for however many hours a day, you really need to make it a point to continue experiencing life outside of your small environment. It's like you really need to make time to travel, especially while you're young, because it's way more fun. Continue to meet new people and get exposed to new ideas. Watch television that you wouldn't normally watch. I just feel like constantly expanding your mind, I feel like, is the best thing you can do as a creative person and an artist. Like I was saying earlier, like trying new hobbies, trying that thing you've always wanted to do. Like when I moved out to LA and I was 23, I kind of had like a quarter life crisis at one point where I was just like, I'm 23 and there's so much I haven't done yet, and so I signed up for like an archery class. I signed up for a 6-week magic class at the Magic Castle. I took improv lessons at UCB, which I was so scared to do, improv. And just getting you outside of your comfort zone is like the quickest way to grow and learn. So yeah, that would be my advice for that. I just think that's incredibly important.
Did improv help you come out of your shell as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it definitely saved my life, because I was like super, super shy.
Yeah.
My throat would tighten before I ever had to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even an option, you just like gotta get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, in terms of listening skills, I think that was also a huge thing with improv. It's just like you really hone your like listening and comprehension, and just trying to come up with a response as quickly as you can, and it's a great exercise mentally.
Yeah, and not always going for the obvious joke.
Exactly. Yeah,
definitely. Do you have any self-care habits, like taking care of your hands or wrists?
Oh God, I wish. I try to do I try to do stretching every day. I do pull-ups every day. I have a little pull-up bar in my room. That's pretty much the only form of exercise I do every day. So it's like I look like I'm in good shape because I have like arms, but I will die of a heart attack like tomorrow because I never do any aerobic exercise. So. So these are my final words. I try to take care of my eyes in terms of computer screens and like taking breaks and staring at faraway distances out the window for a few minutes, then looking back. Not a few minutes, probably 20 seconds, but I try to do little things like that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of creatives, they tend to work out their brain more than their body.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's extremely important to work out. Every time I get into regular workout routines, like I feel so much better about every aspect of my life. I mean, it's a natural like dopamine producer, so it's like, and you just feel like, you have that satisfaction of like, I got up early and I worked out, so I'm better than you. Which is just something that I need to do more often as exercise, but
it feeds that confident monster.
Yeah, it just makes you feel like you're on top of your shit, which is a nice feeling.
So we're at the point of the interview where we talk about your views on female representation in cartoons.
Oh, yay!
Do you think it could be improved?
Oh God, I mean, absolutely. I think that female representation in all media could be improved, not just in animation.
For sure.
I mean, it's still this issue of just it's even like a numbers game still at this point in terms of what there's like in crowd scenes there's one woman for every 4 men, and putting using a male as like an extra or background character is just the default, and if you make it it's like the woman is a slight, that's even like a noteworthy, I don't know. I don't know if did you read that article that Raphael, who works on BoJack Horseman, wrote about like there was going to be just a quick throwaway gag that happened with a character, and Lisa Hannibal changed that character to a woman, and he was like, well, it's not funny if it's a woman. He was like, that adds a layer to the joke where it's like, why is it a woman? And she was like, what are you talking about? Like, of course it can be a woman. And it kind of made him stop, and I'm of course paraphrasing it extremely poorly, but it's a great article.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Please do, because I was just like, yes, that's it. It's just like she had the attitude of like, well, why not make it a woman? And like so many people wouldn't be able to answer that question. And he was one, and he's, you know, an enlightened enough person to really be like, yeah, I was wrong. I didn't think about it that way, and now I'm forever changed. Because, you know, he's a smart guy, so.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's subconscious, you know, in society. So when you catch yourself going, you're like, oh, wait, completely. Why did I think that?
It's an ingrained sexism that most people, even very, very intelligent people, have. And, I mean, I'm not going to lie, even sometimes I do it. I'm not as much anymore because it's, once again, practice makes perfect. If you change your habits, it becomes, you know, it's like riding a bike. But you know, initially it is. You're like, oh yeah, this will just be a dude, and of course, like, you know, if in a script it says like, I don't know, like a circus ringleader. If you're reading a script and there's like a circus ringleader, and you're like, oh well, that would be a man, and it's like, and you have to ask yourself, why does that have to be a man? You know, I mean, it's the same with representing different races as well. I think that's the exact same thing. It's just like so often in if you're a white person, then white is the default, and anything else is like an added layer, and it's things you have to unlearn. But it's easy to unlearn. So
when you're storyboarding, do you think of like representation when you're working?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just, and it starts to become second nature after a while. I try to put more women in the background. So I'm going the opposite direction to make up for what white men have been doing for decades.
What about like people of color as well? Do you think about those things?
Yeah, completely.
Because I feel like sometimes when a storyboard artist is working, you know, like their incidentals will get changed by the end. Like, do you color them in and try to like communicate that so it goes all the way through?
Oh yeah, I mean the shows that I've worked on, we have specific guides to incidentals, and you're pointing out who you want in each shot. So it's just like, unless you got a real piece of shit white supremacist showrunner, they're not gonna change your incidentals back into white people. Because I mean, you know, hopefully by this point most people in this industry are also concerned with this, and they want to be better too. And yeah, it's nice. It's really nice to be in this environment right now where people are more mindful of that. Finally.
Definitely. What are your views about women in animation behind the scenes, like making the cartoons?
I think it's fantastic.
Are we equal?
No.
But it's so much better, right?
It's better, but I wouldn't, you know, go so far as to like pat ourselves on the back and say like, way to go, because I mean, like, how many female showrunners in animation can you even name? It's like you can count them on both hands. And like that's
3 come to mind, and that's it. That's
shameful. I mean, that basically is, it's not, like, because Cartoon Network has had one female showrunner in the history of their network, that doesn't make them progressive. That's shameful. And so I think that hopefully things continue to improve, because it's like Darren, Rebecca.
I was thinking of Sue Rose. I don't think she currently has a show, though.
The Pepper Ann?
Oh, yeah. And Chris Nee, actually, for Doc McStuffins.
There we go. We've named 4. So it's just like one of those things where it's like, just because you got one under your belt does not mean that you're done and you fix the problem. It's the beginning, and like, now let's take it from there. Yeah, it's a good time to be in animation. I'm really happy that there are so many young women who are just on the horizon of almost getting their own shows right now, and it's gonna happen within the next like 2 or 3 years. So I'm very excited to see what happens from here on out. But right now, it's still a huge issue in my mind. Because also another thing that happens is that I see this happening where networks start to develop a female-driven show, and that makes them feel good, and that makes them feel like they did the progress, but then they don't greenlight it. And so then and I'm not talking about myself right now, I'm talking about like other
just
people.
things you've witnessed.
Things I've witnessed. And that's what needs to happen, is it needs to get a series greenlight. It's just like the fact that, I don't know, I just think about shows like As Told by Ginger and like Pepper Ann and like Daria and these shows that were so important to me growing up, and I'm just like, I want more shows like that. Where it's more female driven stuff with like relatable girl characters dealing with really important issues to women. And yeah, so I think, you know, Steven Universe and Star, those are the beginning, and now let's do some more. Let's do some more of that.
Definitely. Do you have any advice for young women getting into the industry or about making their own art?
Yeah, I mean, just keep making your stuff and posting it on the internet. Like, make comics and be weird and be gross and try not to be afraid of that stuff, because that's exciting. And that's going to be, like, the next wave is, like, women being women and not being ashamed of that. And, like, not worrying about if your show is boy accessible. That's my dream. Sure. It's not always having to get that note of boy accessibility, because I don't think that's always a note that men get when it's the reversed situation. So more advice would just, yeah. I mean, it's this day and age is just like with like Tumblr and everything. It's just a completely different environment than when I was getting into this industry, and it's so exciting that so many people can just have an immediate voice and develop such a huge following, even if it's just them and their computer and like a pad of paper, you know. It's really exciting.
Yeah. Simplifying it like that.
Yeah.
It sounds really great. Yeah.
I mean,
it sounds so simple.
Yeah, don't wait until you have like a crew of people to do it. Also, you can make a freaking animatic on, you know, software that comes on your phone. You know what I mean? Like, it's people really don't have an excuse anymore. It's
you can make stop motion on your phone now.
Yes. So it's like everything's so accessible, and so it's just like, yeah, you just gotta stay motivated. And advice for like girls breaking into the industry is just like, don't be disheartened, and everyone's waiting for you. Everyone's waiting for you to do something really amazing. So it's a great time to be a lady, I think. There's a lot of blood boiling right now, and something really cool is going to happen. You can feel it.
I love that. So what's next for Julia Vickerman?
I want to make a show, and so working on that little by little, chipping away. And if this idea doesn't go, then I want to do another idea. I love directing. I love writing. I want to make female-centric content, and like I was just saying, I just feel like we're on the verge of something, and I'm just really excited I'm excited to get to a point in my career where I can hire other women and like be as good of a mentor to younger women as I had very nice male mentors through my career, and I would love to be that for young women, so that they feel like they have more of and feel more welcome in this industry, and especially, you know, in these like writing and directing jobs, like higher up creative jobs. I just really want to see more women in those roles, because there's a lot of stories to be told from different perspectives, and it's different subtle ways of telling a story differently, and I'm just so interested to see what the industry is going to look like when it's not predominantly run by white men, and I think that'll be sooner rather than later.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a thing where like men shouldn't have the opportunity to do their own shows, but we just need more voices.
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely not. No, I am not a man-hating lady. I am a fan of equality. I'm interested in a 50-50 situation, and I think everyone should be. So, and for genders and in races, I'm excited that there are so many people coming up right now that are just about to have these shows, and I'm just like, ooh, just a few more years, and then it'll be a little bit better. We're inching towards equality, and it's exciting.
Where can our listeners find out more about you, like on social media?
Well, I have a illustration Tumblr. It's just Julia Vickerman illustration.tumblr.com. I have Instagram. It's just Julia Vickerman. Yeah, that's my name. And there's a 12 Forever production Tumblr that I put new fan art on sometimes, because there's still some fan art that trickles in all these couple years later, which is very sweet. So so those are the places.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We hope for the best for you in the future, and can't wait to share your future projects.
Oh, thank you.
Online.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming.
Yay.
I can't tell you how appreciative we are of your support in making this podcast. It's been a challenge, and it's so motivational to know that you are listening and waiting for it to release each week. If there's someone you'd like us to invite on the show and interview, please let us know. We're also genuinely interested in what creative projects you've got going on. Share it with us on social media. We're on Twitter at Paint Girls, on Facebook as the Ink and Paint Girls Podcast, which is very similar to our email address, inkandpaintgirlspodcast@gmail.com. Funny how that works. If you'd like to connect with me personally, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Just search for my name. The Ink and Paint Girls podcast is created and hosted by me, Cassie Soliday, and produced by Val Patrone in sunny Burbank, California. Music courtesy of TV's Kyle and Grace Sy. Until next time, this has been the Ink and Paint Girls podcast. Thanks for tuning in.